everybody. Okay, I have a question. Is my sign backwards to you? Because StreamYard's doing all kinds of weird things these days, and it was asking me about my camera, a question I hadn't been asked before. So I have no idea if I should have mirrored it, if I shouldn't have mirrored it. So, on the internet, in YouTube, can you read my sign or is it backwards? Let me know. Because I can always change it. I'd have to go out and come back in. Sign looks good. Okay, good. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, thank you, thank you. How are you guys doing tonight? How are you doing? I am so excited about this project. And Dev's texted me shortly before the live. A whole backpack? Yes! An entire little teeny tiny backpack. And now I was just playing around with scraps, so this isn't like the cutest of color combinations and all that. I don't like this pocket. I think that pocket's kind of ugly on there, and the pocket's optional, but we're going to go through all this in the live. All right, so here's what I made this afternoon, my first time to ever do one of these, and I was pretty happy with it, but I did change up some of the things that I'm going to do tonight versus what I did this afternoon. Now, in the description is the pattern that I use. I have notes all over my pattern. So the pattern would look kind of like the white part of this, but I'm going to make these side pieces a little wider, and I'll let you know if I like that better or not as well. And then I have my notes all over it because I'm not going to look at a video during this live. I'm going to do it from memory and from my notes. So let me say hi to a few people. We're going to get started pretty quickly because I think this is going to take a while. But let me say hi to a few people. Hey, Jess. How are you? Jess's Craft Therapy. Hope you had a good event last weekend. Hey, Connie. Welcome. Hey, DB and Sandra. Hey, Louis. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Hey, Alice B. Okay, should I move this way? Nope. Should I move this way? I feel like I should move this way. Anyway, Alice B, thank you for being here. And Donzel, welcome. Nicole, welcome. Hey, Angel B. Angel B, are you going to start sewing? Are you going to start sewing? Inquiring minds want to know. Maybe you do already sew. Hey, our Lovelanders. And Martha Jordan, welcome. Hey, Unbiased. Bushwatching. Okay. Also, I texted you. Hey, Royani, welcome. And Jennifer Ricci, welcome. Unbiased Nosy Post. I know those are so funny. I liked the, it was a team pattern, and it was different parts of it, different colors. I don't know if it was on 2 pieces of fabric or 1. It looked really nice. Hey, Sharon, welcome. All right, can't speak individually, but she's going to be in the bushes. Welcome to everyone here and in the bushes. Hey, Debs, welcome. And Renee, thanks again also for letting me know my sign was good. Hey, Danny. Hey, Vera. Hey, Robin. Hey, Melinda. Hi, Lachey. Hey, Up Designs. And Geneva, Daisy, Quill Ranch, welcome. Thanks for coming back. I hope this is going to be an enjoyable live. Hey, Kristen. All right, I think I'm going to start scrolling so we can get started. Hey, Stacy and Crystal. Hey, Torika, your dad's here. Hey, MJ, welcome. Hey, Gail. If I missed you, if I scrolled by you, I apologize. I do so much appreciate you being here. Hey, Shamika. Shamika, I thought about using one of the polls that we got. I take it away, but I'm not going to yet. Hey, Mary Brown. All right, I really am scrolling. Keep that wagon rolling. All right. Hey, Mikkel. All right, let me go ahead. Hey, Shay Shay, take that down. So this, I hope, is going to be a really fun project. Now, before I get too far into it, hey, Laura, Can you guys hear the fan? Because I was so surprised. Was it last week when you guys couldn't even hear my machine and it was annoying me a lot and you guys couldn't even hear it? It is still very hot. I'm in Kansas. It's still very hot here, and I'm in an upstairs room over the garage. So it's hot in here. So I do have a fan over here going, but I've cooled off a lot. So if you can hear it, I'm happy to turn it off. But let me know. All right, so if you came in after I showed this, we're going to make this little mini backpack. These are not great colors or patterns together, but I was just using some of the scraps that I had. And this is a really, really good project for a couple reasons. Hey, Rosalind. First of all, this takes scraps. Hey, Lena Doyle. This does not take much fabric. And so if you do this and it doesn't turn out well, you have not really wasted a whole lot. You've wasted a zipper. But if you're like me, I get them on Amazon. You get a ton of them for not much money. The second reason I think this is a wonderful project, and Stacy, Shay's twinsy. Stacy had asked me, hey Lisa, yeah, it is hot upstairs. Stacy had asked me if it was a hard project. And I said, it's not hard, but it's tedious. But the thing I love about this, besides being a small, inexpensive scrapbuster project, is you're going to learn, or you're going to practice many different things in sewing. You're going to practice a zipper. And I remember within the last few weeks, somebody said they were afraid to do zippers. And you're going to use a zipper. And zippers aren't anything to be afraid of. They really aren't. Hey, Marta. Hey, Mrs. Parker. Hope you're doing okay. So you're going to do a zipper. That's a learning step if you've never done a zipper. You are going to, it's not really bias tape, but you're going to learn to do little straps where you fold it once and fold it again. And if you didn't sew it down, it would be bias tape. And knowing how to make your own bias tape to match things is good. And then, hey, Renique. Yes, Stacy, exactly what you need. And then also, you are going to be sewing, I would consider this a gusset. There's going to be a gusset in here, or something very similar to a gusset. So it is a great learning project if you're starting out in sewing. Now, I'm not going to say this should be your first project. Hey, Doris, welcome. Who else did I miss going by? Geneva, I think I said hi, but if not, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad you're here. Yeah, zippers are fun once you figure them out. I was afraid of them too. You know, I was talking to Patrice, and until the last couple of years, I had sewn straight lines pretty much. Curtains, simple curtains, pillowcases or pillow coverings. That's about it. So these last 2 or 3 years, I've learned a lot. So let's get started because I'm talking way too much. All right. Yes, Kristen, you could. You could. Okay, so let me go ahead and switch these over. I have so much on my table here, but I am using, let me see, I'm using Sewing Times pattern, and I did link that, but I'm going to modify it. She also has a video that goes with hers. I also watched Anjurisa, 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 to get some of her tips on how she does it. And then there was one more, here it is, Masaki Sewing. So those are the 3 videos. They each did theirs a little differently, and I'm kind of taking parts and pieces of each one of those. You have this fabric too? This one? This one right here? I love this. I think I saw this on Shay's channel and then had to get it. I think this might be what I got. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And I'm going to show you this. Let me make it where I can actually see on my computer what I'm showing you. There we go. And my hand scribbling. If this the new way that I'm going to make it turns out really nice, I am going to redo the pattern, and I'll probably do it in Silhouette, and I'll make it into an SVG, so you could either print it. You have it too, Jennifer? You could either print it, or you could even cut your fabric out like on a Cricut or Silhouette or a Scan and Cut, or any of those. And then I will also write out the steps the way I'm doing it, which is a little different. And then next week in my live, if I have all that done, I'll put a link to it for everybody in the live to get next week. Okay? All right. So the things that we're going to use, there's a lot of things we're going to use. Let's start with the fabric. So I'm going to use this for the main side of the backpack. Now, they do recommend a canvas. This is not a canvas. This is like a quilter's cotton. So I'm going to line it, and I'm going to line my lining because I want just that extra support. So for my outside, I'm going to use this. On the one that I do today, I'm going to have the pocket also be out of this, but I'm going to make a little bitty trim piece out of black fabric that'll be at the top of the pocket. Then for my lining, and I'm going to show you the inside of this. You can finish these off with putting trim over the inside and sewing a trim over the seams. I didn't do that, and I'm probably not going to do it tonight. There was also a video where they made the inside separate from the outside, then they hand sewed them together. But I really just want to show you tonight how to get the main thing done. So our outside, our lining, our accent. And then for my zipper, I hope that I have a basic black zipper. I do. It may be too long, but I can cut it down because they're nylon. Yep, there's one right there. I think that would be cute. If it wasn't so busy already, that would be cute with this fabric, but I don't think I'm going to use that. And then I have some really short zippers in here. They might be long enough. Oh, hush. No, that's not long enough. That's too short. What do you do with the teeny tiny zippers, and why didn't I buy them? All right, let's turn you back on. Okay, so we're all up to speed. We're going to use these three fabrics, this zipper. I'm going to use this bright pink thread. I would prefer probably to use a lighter pink thread, but I already have a bobbin. I already have a bobbin for this one, so we're going to use these. Then, okay, so unbiased. Here's the template, which I linked in the video description. We are going to start by cutting out a piece of the main fabric with this template, except I'm going to make mine a 1/2 inch overall wider on these two side pieces. You're also going to need this for your interfacing and for your liner fabric, but I am not going to cut my liner fabric out. I'm going to lay a rectangle when it's time over my main part, sew it together, and then I'm going to trim the excess away, because I did not do it that way with this one, and they didn't meet up perfectly. And so you'll see what I'm talking about here in just a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Hey Doris, welcome. So this piece here, it is in the description, but if I measure it, it is about 9.5 inches, and the widest part is about 7 inches. When I printed my template, because it is meant for, what is that called, A3 or A4 size paper, which is 8.3 by 11 point something, my printer wanted, well, I printed a second one, so I could show you what I was going to talk about. Okay, this is regular 8.5 by 11 paper, When I sent it to the printer, my printer software was taking the scale down to 87% because this was going to get cut off. So I bumped it up and I said, go ahead and do it at 100%. And all it got cut off is one area. All this is to make sure that your pattern is the right size. And it's supposed to be 5 centimeters, I'm sorry. And you can see that's 5 centimeters. So if you print this, make sure your printer doesn't print it at 87 or 85 or 89%. Make sure you bump it up to 100%. Okay? This will get cut off, but it's okay. All right. We'll go over the zipper size as we go along. Now, like I said earlier, I'm going to put all the things you need, the description of all that. I'm going to put that together and I'll link that next week. All right, so I just want to cut around this. So that's what I'm going to do to start with. Is I'm going to lay this on here and I'm going to trim my fabric down because I don't want to deal with all this. I don't want to deal with this. Let me flip it. Uh-oh. Come here, thread. I need a bigger table, which I have a bigger table, but I tried to go live on that bigger table once and I didn't like it. Okay. Oopsie, I got behind. Hey, Eve and Faker McFake. Welcome. Good morning. I know, Lisa. If I was in my extra era, which I'm not, I had thought about embroidering my initial or something on it first. Okay, so I am just going to, please tell me I brought my good scissors back upstairs because I was making this downstairs today and I didn't have my good fabric scissors down there and I was hating it. So I'm going to start by just kind of getting it close to the right size. You know what? I never even noticed if anybody said they could hear my fan. Is the sound okay? Hey, Pretty Eyes Covington, welcome. And I probably should have been a little more strategic on where I placed my pattern. It'll turn out fine. And before I cut this down, I'm actually going to go ahead and adhere the thin interfacing to the back of the fabric because I don't want to cut twice. I just want to cut once. All right, set you aside. Here's my interfacing. I have a very thin interfacing, and so that's why I'm going to use it on the front fabric as well as the lining fabric. Not bothering you. Okay, thank you, Kristen. And I'm going to do the same with this. I'm going to just rough cut. I don't want to use my good scissors on this because it does have those blue dots. So I'm going to use my animal print scissors. But has anybody, hey Sylvia, has anybody in the chat done one of these little mini backpacks before? This is a tiny one. I should have gone into my daughter's old stuffed animal collection and gotten a stuffed animal and put this backpack on it. I didn't think about it. Too late. Maybe the picture for this live later will be a backpack on a stuffed animal. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is make sure the whole back of this is covered. And I have a piece of parchment paper in here somewhere. I'm just going to, oh no. Wait, is that going to get cut off? Oh, we're fine. Okay, that'll get cut off. So I'm going to press this down with parchment paper over it. And I probably have it way too hot for this, so I'll just leave it on there for a few seconds. Okay. That way, like I said, we can just cut once and not have to worry about it. We're also going to have to cut a piece out of the liner. Nope, we're doing that later. Okay, doing that later, Marilyn. Don't forget that. Hey, Jessie. All right, so we're going to put our pattern on here. And I just have these 3M sticky things on there because I'm going to alter the pattern to make it wider. So the way I'm going to start is putting I'm going to put lines on this, and then I'm going to cut from the lines. Okay, hopefully this marker will show up. So what are you guys doing? Is it hot where you are? Has it cooled off yet? We're supposed to get a big cool down in the next few days. And so we're probably going to go camping next week. Okay, those lines didn't show up. Let's do that again. Still warm here in Houston. Oh, I'll bet. I'll bet it is. Hopefully I didn't draw too far on there. I forgot. I forgot I was going to make it wider. It'll be okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and flip this. And do those lines. So when you guys are doing a pattern, do you like pin it to your fabric, even if it's a small pattern like this? I honestly feel if I were going to make very many of these, I would get this transferred onto a cutting machine, an SVG, because I hate cutting all this out by hand, which is funny because when I do appliques, I don't mind that cutting, but I hate all this cutting. Let's see. Hey, Linda Gray. And C. Mills, welcome. All right, so before I do the rounded edges, I'm going to go ahead and cut what I have so far. Hey, Rosalind. Welcome. So these aren't actually my fabric scissors, but I did mark too far. These are really nice, sharp scissors. And I love them. These I only use on fabric. So, sometime in the next few days, does anybody think they would actually make something like this? And Did I say earlier that when I redo the pattern, I want to make it into a cut file? That way, if anybody wants to use their cutting machine, they can just use their cutting machine and not have to do all this. You have this fabric too? You're about the third person who said they have this fabric. All right, so let's finish it off. Mostly what I have is just the rounded edges, but I forgot to mark this one. I barely have my fabric far enough. Now, a lot of the videos, I say a lot, I watched 3 full videos, I watched some shorts, I watched bits and pieces of other videos, and like maybe I didn't like the recording, so I stopped. The one that I really like, she has a pretty big following, and I like her because she actually talks during the video. So many sewing videos that I watch, they point, and then they do a line, and then all of a sudden there's a zipper, you know. And I like people that talk. But the one, I think that was Onurisa, and I might not be saying her name right, that talks through hers. You like to see the finished product and the steps, yeah. So this is close to the finished project, but I'm changing up just a little bit. Hi, Shanilika. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Mylene, I don't think I said hi to you yet. Hello. Okay, so almost ready to move on to the next step. Stacy's going to be doing this project. I'll talk her into it. All right. So here is the main piece of fabric. So let me look at my notes. Let's see. I'm also going to have zipper fabric. We're going to get to that later. Okay, and the pocket. Okay, so we're going to start with the pocket. For me and my pocket, we are going to use the same fabric that I used for this on this one with a black trim at the top of it. And for the pocket, you're going to want the width to be the same width as this. And it doesn't matter if it's bigger than that when you start, because you can trim it off afterwards. So it's no big deal. And so let me find where I cut from, and I'll cut some more fabric off there. And let's see, how deep is that pocket? That's less than 2 inches. I think I'll do 2 overall. So let's start by cutting it at about 2.5 inches. Okay, let me find my little squared off thing here. That's going to be a lot faster. What went flying across the room? Something that was on my lap went flying. And it's probably something I'm going to need later in Camp On. So if I'm missing something later, just remind me to look on the floor under that table. All right, so this is 3.5 by 3.5, and I just want 2 pieces of 2 by 2, or I could do 1 piece of 2 by 4, since I'm using the same fabric for both sides. But I'm going to do it the way they show you in the videos. Okay, so let's go 1.5, 1, 2. 2 pieces would be right there. Oh, where's I really, really need a bigger table for this. Hey, Terry Hunt. Okay, so I'm going to cut 2 pieces at, do I want it 2 inches? Hold on, let me look. Because I'm going to lose some of it. I'm going to go 2¼ inches. And probably what I'll do, I'm going to go 2.5 inches. Probably what I'll do is look back at this video to write my instructions, because I did this project this afternoon and I made some changes in my mind afterwards, but I want to make sure it looks good before I do all the instructions for it. Alright, that did not quite cut through. Let's go ahead and help it out. I think I might need a new blade on this little Martelli cutter, because it used to cut so nicely. I should have had this pre-cut. I'm sorry guys, this part's kind of boring. Okay, so now we're just going to use this piece and lay my guide over it. And hopefully it cuts better this time. Put some muscle into it, Marilyn. Put some muscle into it. Hey, Bobby. Welcome. Yeah, Gail. I don't know. It's just not cutting as well as it used to. All right, let's get started on this pocket. I am going to have some, oh my gosh, Marilyn. Okay, good. Good, good, good. I am going to need a piece of trim for the top of it. We'll deal with that here in just a minute. And I probably need to get my machinery threaded. This is an old Singer sewing machine. I think somebody looked it up for me one time to see when it came out. Now I don't even remember. Late 1999, early 2000s. But I got it when my son was little, and he is now, how old is he? 29, I think. Hey, Diane, welcome. But it is a Singer, and it says electronic control because that was a big deal, I guess, back then. But it's really very mechanical, and it will sew through a lot of things. So I wonder if the thing that fell was my big spool of thread, because I'm not seeing it. Let me go look on the floor over here and see if that's what rolled. I hate to have to change my thread coat. That's it. That is exactly what it was. Hey, Melody. All right, let's see if we can't make this a little bit better. You might see my light over there, but it'll be okay. Okay, my mind went blank. I was thinking. Don't think when you do this, it's just muscle memory. Oh, lordy. Hopefully I can get this. Let's do the unbiased trick. Put something light behind it. I do have my glasses that Danny told me about that I use over at my embroidery machine. There we go. I think I got it through here. Awesome. Okay. Oh, you guys couldn't even see that. Sorry about that. So pick up this bobbin. Let's see. I'm gonna pull the thread over to this area. I hold on to my thread from the upper part, crank my wheel toward me, and it just pulls it on up. Okay, we're good to go. So I have some little sticky parts I need to get off there. I like to sew with clips, so I have these clips that I'll use. Are you a clip person or are you a pin person? Okay, Unbiased, I will do that. I'll do that toward the end or right at the end. I want to go ahead and throw these under the heat press. I'm very big on pressing things, clips all the way, especially between steps. Hey, I see somebody saying hi to Patrice. So, hey, Patrice, I didn't see you come in, but I know you're in here now. Okay, so I ended up cutting mine, and this is probably more for my benefit for when I watch the video later, at 2.5 inches. And I'm going to sew these together. Really, all I need to sew them together on is the top and the bottom, because this gets sewn into the fabric here in just a little bit. And then I'm going to stay really, really, really close to this edge over here. And I should have a leader piece of fabric in there, and I don't. So, yeah. I'm going the wrong way. Going the wrong way, Marilyn. Going the wrong way. I want to do it across the long parts. Okay. Where's my flip thingy? I moved it over here until we got started. Hey, Nicole. Precious pieces, Nicole. Welcome. Okay, I might have to maneuver this because they did not make these cords very long to reach the floor. Okay, are you a right-footed sewer or are you a left-footed sewer? Now, I sew very slowly. That's just the way I do it. And I'm not putting very much of an inseam in there. Very, very small. And right now I'm sewing at about stitch length of 2.5. Now, you can see here, I didn't cut very well, so I am going to have to go in a little bit more for my inseam. But this is just the inside. You'll see in a little bit. It's not going to matter. I mean, I like to have everything uniform, but it'll be okay. Alright, so let's trim those threads off. Sorry, hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing here. Now all I'm going to do is take this and turn it right side out, trying to be gentle since I didn't backstitch or anything. And then I have my little I didn't really sew that as far as I should have, but it's gonna be fine. Where's my little iron? I think it's behind me. Let me plug this in. Then once we get this pocket on, we start doing the straps. And there's a few different ways you can do these straps. Hi, Patricia. Welcome. Glad to see you here. Barefoot right or button. Oh, see, I don't have, well, let me not lie. Because I have a Husqvarna Viking that I've only used for embroidery, but it's also a sewing machine. And it probably has a button on it. But I've never used it to sew before, so I've only used a foot pedal, or back when I was a kid and I would use my mom's sewing machine, she had the knee thing. So basically there was a side lever beside my left knee, and I would push my knee out toward it to depress that lever, and that would make it go like a foot pedal does now. All right, so we're going to, boy, I didn't sew that very well. Marilyn, I can't do this. I gotta fix that. I did terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. All right. I love this back over. See, I didn't catch my fabric over here because I look like I'm sewing drunk. That is gonna look not good. That looks bad. What's going on here? Bad, bad, bad. Okay, you guys, I don't usually do this terrible. Quilt winch, don't leave. Don't leave on me. There we go. All right. It would have been in the seam allowance of the bag. No, I'm not sewing drunk. I just look like it. Okay. Whoops, you hush. All right. So what I want to do is get this folded over so that my seam is at the very tip top. So I'm going to try to kind of roll it with my fingers. We're going to get that side pressed down. Then we're going to do this side. Get that in first because it was sewn better. And not quite sewn all the way to the end, but that is going to get sewn into my seam, so I'm not concerned about it. Okay, so if I wanted to be done with this pocket right now, I could be done with the pocket, even though it looks wonky. Oh man. Okay, you guys know my OCD is not going to allow me to have that terrible of a pocket. It's going to get better, guys. It's going to get better. Going to get better. Can't get too much worse. All right. Come on, thread. Let's go. A little bit more. All right. Now I should take my pinking shears and kind of go in there and get that cleaned up, but we're not going to worry about it. We are trying to get done, as Unbiased says. May not be perfection, but will be done. Maybe I should have made 2 of these before I came on here. Okay. Don't worry about what the inside of this looks like. It's going to be fun. Hey, Jennifer Hancock. Thanks, Unbiased. I got it. I got it. I'm just not as smooth as a lot of people. Not as smooth in my sewing and my delivery. Bob Bennett turns out cute. I will bet it turns out cute. And if it doesn't, I'll make another one. Not tonight. Okay, so now I want to put a tiny bit of trim on the top of it. So I'm just going to take a piece of black fabric and I'm going to cut it at, I want to cut it about 1 inch. Maybe 1.25 inches. Let's see how straight it is. First, I'm going to straighten it up because it is not straight at all. You guys, I burnt my wool pressing mat. So I tend to lay my little iron down on it. And well, I laid my little iron down on it and left it on it way too long. And it burned it. I'll show you the other side in a minute. Okay, so I just need this to be as wide as my pattern. That looks pretty good. Flip it over, and we're looking for 1.25 inches. This fabric has stuff all over it. Okay. So it's probably impossible for you to see the little quarter lines because they're black and the fabric's black. But I have my, let's make sure I have it on there. I have my little lines on 1.25 inches. Hey, that cut through. Now what I want to do is the same thing we're going to end up doing for the straps, and that is fold this in 2. This is going to have pink thread. It'll be fine. So I'm folding it in 2. And then I'm going to open it up and fold it into each side toward the middle. Was my head in the camera? I just felt my hair hit the camera. So we're going to press that toward the middle. And this is like if you're making your own bias tape. And so first I folded it in the middle, and I opened it and I folded it this side halfway to the middle. It's very hard for you to see this on black fabric. And I'm going to do the same thing on this one. And then we're going to add this as trim to that pocket. So now I'm going to fold it back down that middle seam, or the middle fold line, and just press this down. Alright, so let's find my pocket. That's not my pocket. There it is. Let's see, which side looks the worst? Let's cover up the worst. Now what I could do is use it like bias tape, just fold it over it. I think I will. Fold it over the top of it like that, and then I'll do one stitch toward this bottom end of it. And I want that stitch to be really close to the left side of this, what I'm going to call bias tape. Now with this piece, I can get a little bit of a running start because I have fabric way back there. So I'm going to go ahead and get a start. And then my fabric wasn't quite straight, so I'm going to try to accommodate for that. And I'll sew it pretty slowly because I'm not that great at straight lines, as you guys have seen. Let's go, machine. Let's go. Shay, are you still here? This machine is telling me I might need that new singer. This machine is being weird. I don't think I have something correct. Something in the bobbin. Something's just not right. Yeah, wouldn't that be a good excuse to get that new singer? Yeah, you guys, I have a bunch of thread down there. Okay. This machine doesn't do me this way. This machine is usually very, very well behaved. Nasty looking. Who wants their bag trimmed out with that? That looks terrible. Alright, that's going to have to go to the inside. Now, my thread, my upper thread feels fine. Let's redo this. Did I put it in backwards or something goofy like that? There we go. Okay, that's smooth. Fortunately, I hadn't really sewn very far onto this when I started having my issues. I hear ya. I hear ya. All right, take two. I'm just gonna slowly get this hand started. There we go. And I'm trying to watch the mark to try to get this fairly even on the black material. Okay, it's feeling better. I don't feel the resistance anymore, so I think it's going to be fine. Although I do have a loop there. No, I don't. That's from the other side. Okay, So here's our little pocket. I'm gonna go ahead and trim some of this excess away. We don't need all of that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take a minute. We're going to look at how this will look in the end. So this will be up at the top of the bag. And so my pocket, this is the top of the pocket, needs to be facing or in the direction of this curve. And I want the bottom of the pocket to be, most of the videos we're putting them even with this side thing here. I'm going to have it up a tiny bit. Okay. And then I think I'll get one side somewhat even with it so I can clip it. So I'm just going to clip it on one side to hold it relatively straight. Actually, I think I'll clip it over here because I like starting, when I sew, I like to start on this side. Now, that looks pretty straight going across there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew down, across, and back up. So when I sew across the bottom, that's kind of like top stitching this bottom down here. One thing I don't like is I'm going to have all this excess pink thread up here, but it's going to get covered over later. So you don't have to worry too much about that. Alright, let's go ahead and start above it my little bit. Like I said, it's going to get covered up later anyway. And I want to make sure that's fairly straight. Looks good. Thanks, Robin. I'm trying to remember. Shay, where'd you get this? Everybody else, I think Linda Gray said she has it. I know Shay has it. I think Jennifer Ritchie said she has it. Who else was it? Angie or Beverly? Y'all, I can still feel something in there not feeling right. I feel something not feeling right, so I don't want to keep going. Maybe I should just take the top thread out and rethread it. You got yours at Joann's. Oh, I wonder if Michael's has it now. Okay, we are going to rethread this top one. And then let me pull on this. That feels very smooth. The bottom one feels very smooth. I thought the top one did too. But something's not right. Unbiased, did you say you're not in your pink era or you are in your pink era? I think I saw that you said you are in your pink era. All right, I'm going to get a piece of scrap fabric and see what's going on, see if it's better now. Because that is annoying me. Oh, perfect. Okay. It's fine. It is fine. I feel like I need to adjust my other side now though, because it made a pull on it. All right, good to know. We are all back in business. All right, that looks good. I am very, very, very close to the edge, the bottom edge. Hey, that's funny, that's lined up. Probably closer than I really want to be. Well, not anymore, because my drunk driving, my drunk sewing took over again. Okay, let me. Okay, this is. I should have trimmed that. Should have trimmed it so I could see exactly where I am. I'm going to go back a stitch. That is crooked. You guys just pray that we make it through this project, okay? Just pray for me. I don't have a nervous breakdown through this. Okay, so that is very crooked. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off the excess fabric, which I probably should have done before I sewed so I could make sure it was more straight. But we now have a cute little pocket. So now it's time to put on the little loop and the little straps that go over the shoulders. Thank you, Evelyn. I appreciate that. So I am going to use, what am I going to use? Should I use black for those? I feel like I should use black for those straps also, which means we need to make more of our little bias thingies. Now, I'm going to start out for the straps at 6 inches each. I'm probably going to cut some off. I'm going to do 6 inches for each of those. And I'm going to start with 2.5 inches for this. You say pink all around for everything. Well, black and pink are really cute together. Uh-oh. I just knocked my camera loose. Okay, let me remove this one from the screen, and then I'll come back in. Remove it. Of course this is going to happen during a live. Okay, give me a minute. I'm going to have to go all the way out. Okay, you guys, we've been on here for over an hour. I gotta pick up speed. I gotta pick up some speed. Okay, so let's see. I can see up there where 6 inches is, but I want to get this straightened off first. So let me just use this little ruler, little quilter's ruler, even though I'm not a quilter yet. Decided no more sewing today, just going to watch. Thank you, Kristen. Okay, I know I went probably way more than 6 inches. You're not going anywhere. Take my time. Thank you, Unbiased. Okay. So, once again, we're going to do 1.25 inches. And if I could see my markings on this, I would just mark it and do it, but I can't. So we're gonna, that didn't look straight. Let me get this straightened up. When I was in grade school, we had this music teacher and she was playing the piano and she was so fun and happy that you saw like her arm flapping. That's how I feel right now from just doing that. Okay, so I'm going to look down here and I see the 1.25 inches and we're going to get it close enough. Thanks, Robin. Oh my goodness. I think I just cut into it. Hey. I might have to straighten that up a bit. Okay, let's do another 1.25 inches. And then what I say, 2.5 inches for that other one on the length. Let's go ahead and do enough for it. And do 1.25 inches again, approximately. Okay. So let's get these chopped off of here and get them to the right lengths. Now, some people, nope, I'm ahead of myself. When we get to the zipper, some people were using interfacing. I'm not going to, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so let's get this to 6 inches, about 6 inches, because I'm going to trim them off together when we get them on there, because they're going to be probably a little bit too long at 6 inches. But I don't care, that's okay. And this one's actually, this one is a little shorter than 6 inches. That's okay. This one, we're going to go ahead and just make it for now. We'll trim them up later. We are doing the exact same thing that we did earlier. Get all that thread on there. Oh, here's where I burned it. That's where I burned it. Might as well stay on the bad side in case I burn it again. Let's see. All right, so we're going to fold it in two. Now, are you still on? Let's see how hot you are. You're plenty hot. We can keep working with you. What I should have done is just bought some black bias tape. But I don't even have a Walmart where I live. So that wasn't going to happen today. Well, I see somebody saying hi to Delonda. So hey, Delonda. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, let me get that a little bit straighter on there. Alana, you may not want to watch this because it might say to you that you really don't want to find that secret location for your sewing room, but it might inspire you to find that secret location. All right, so we flipped it in the middle, then we opened it and we flipped each side to the middle. Now we're just going to fold it over and Oops, iron it. So we have one skinny strap. And note to self, when I write these instructions, I would maybe go a little wider than 1 1/4. I'll play around with it and see. Okay, so that's that one. Where did I lose those other 2 pieces to? Did they fall over here? I am not even kidding. Okay, they're probably, I think they're under my sewing machine. We're going to do the same thing. Oh, you think Rachel found her sewing machine? I saw Delonda say that she would sew along with her, except her sewing machine was, I think she said, still in that secret location, or she just said something like, or well, you know, or something like that. Let me get this a little bit straighter. Okay, we're going to pull this in. So Stacy, I don't know if you're still here, but this is what I was talking about. Tedious. This is not a difficult project, but it is tedious. I may just buy a few colors of bias tape. I feel like I might have one color of it, maybe, like a blue. Okay, now we're going to fold both sides to the middle again, and then press it in. Then we have one more go, and then it's time to start adding our straps and our loops. And I saw a couple different ways on how people did their loops. And actually, I didn't do my loop like either of them did. I just wanted a straight loop. But I'll show you when we do this, the other ways that people did it. Stacy, can't square a block to save your life. I gotcha. I understand. I'm not very good at that either. Not that I do blocks, but you guys have seen me cutting this tonight. All right. We're getting there. We are getting there. Now, earlier, I sewed down both sides of this little thing. I'll show you what I mean. I made these so thin, I'm not sure if I'm going to sew them on both sides or just one seam down the middle. But I'll show you what I'm talking about both ways. Squaring an entire quilt, that would be a little stressful. In case you mess up, not that you would mess up, I'm just saying. Just saying, what if? Have a non-slip ruler and a rotating, oh, a rotating cutting mat. That sounds wonderful. I might have to look into that. Because I slide mine, well, like you saw me earlier, but truly rotating would be nice. All right, we are going to go ahead and sew these down. That's really long. So that they'll look nice. Now, would I or should I change thread and do black for this? Yeah, I probably should, but for this live, and the sake of it not taking 3 more hours, I'm not going to. So on this other one, see how I sewed down both sides? And that, I think, is ideal. This one is a little narrower. So I'm thinking I might just sew one side of or kind of sew down the middle so it looks symmetrical. So let's do that. Let's just sew pretty much down the middle of it. Now let me inspect it. And also, I think I'm going to lengthen my stitch because I feel like, oh, a zigzag could be cute. That would be really cute if I've never done a zigzag before. That sounds adorable. I am going to practice on that. A zigzag down the middle. That would be really cute. I have never done a zigzag, guys. Never. Ever, ever. And I know there's no time like the present, except, you know, I gotta practice it once before I do it on a live. Okay, so I'm gonna try to go down the middle. I'm not quite in the middle. Pull this back up. I can kind of tell basically where the middle is by seeing these two little fork pieces and where they are in relation to my trim piece. Hey 755, Max Lifestyles, I think that would be, okay, so I think what I was saying was I lengthened out my stitch because I feel like a longer stitch is going to make this curve less. It's going to cause it to be distorted less. I don't know if I'm right. That's just what my head is telling me. And if you're new here, this really isn't a tutorial because Marilyn doesn't know all that much about sewing. But what I do know is that I know a little bit, and you probably know more than I do, but even if you don't, this is a project that you can make. Okay, so it's sewn down the middle, not quite straight, but it looks fine. Okay. Unbiased, if you're not reading all the chat, Diane says check your email for something, instructions or something. Directions, okay. That's not very good in the middle. We're going to keep going. Woohoo! A little suede. Okay, so there's my other backpack strap, and then all I have left is the piece for the loop, which is way longer than it needs to be. And I have no idea what I got on my finger. You guys have me wanting to try a zigzag. I'm going to stay in here after the live and play with a zigzag. Okay, that's pretty bad at this end, but I don't need this end, so I'm good. So for the next step, let me go ahead and close that up for safety. Oh, a presser feet that does the bias tape, attaches it. That's cool. All right, so remember there's our pocket. And this is how the backpack will end up looking. Look how crooked that pocket is. Oh my goodness, Marilyn. Anyway, these straps go on the other side. And what I want to do, I saw people that put the straps at the very top, like this, and then they went like this. But I saw one that did the strap. I liked it. They did the straps like 3/4 of an inch down. So we are going to figure out about where 3/4 of an inch down is. And it doesn't need to be perfectly 3/4 of an inch. Somewhere in that vicinity is perfectly fine. But straight is pretty good. All right. So I'm going to mark this, and don't worry because it's going to get covered over in a little bit. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this. I'm going to attach, okay, push. I'm going to attach my loop, and let me show you the 2 ways I saw, well, the other way I saw it done. Some people would do this, and they wanted their loop like that. That's too big. Let me move it down some, so I can always trim it off. I did my loop, I think I did, yeah, I just did a straight loop. I'm going to put a key ring through it. So I think I'm going to stay with what I did before. And I'm going to have my loop like that. Okay, so I'm going to have that one in the middle. I'm going to have this one to one side of it and this one to the other side of it. And then somehow I have to get those sewn down like that. Maybe some double-sided tape would be good for that. I don't know, but we're probably gonna have to just put it back on there when we get up here. I know I want that one there, so let's just start there. And I'm gonna get my needle on the edge of it, hopefully. I'm gonna lay my loop right beside it. And my loop's a little taller than my old loop was. And then we're gonna do this one beside that. Yay, Shay Shay! Remember for 5 months. Okay, so we're gonna sew across here, and those don't seem like they're going up straight. That'll be fine. Okay, so the goal is to get across there and not get my finger under there. So I'm gonna hold it way over here. Ah! That didn't work out. I need my chopstick, which I have in the drawer. Multiples. Or clip the top. That would have been smart. Okay, I'm just going to get through the second one. Or get it tacked down, then I'll add that third one. I know you guys can't really see because my hand's in the way. Okay, got the third one tacked. Now we're going to add this one right here. One time, I'll tell you what I did here in just a minute. Okay. I think I'd like to go back over it. Nope, I'm going to be stitching down again, so don't worry about that. One time, I had my finger over here, and this little nut thingy or whatever that is went down on my finger. Oh my goodness, it hurt. It just kind of squished it. It didn't damage it, it just squished it. Okay, so I forgot about that we need one more of these pieces. because it's going to go across there to cover that up. And let me get this trimmed up. I will tell you, these look pretty bad until your final steps. And then all of a sudden they start looking good. And you're like, oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness, because I spent all that time doing that. Okay, is this going to be long enough if I use that? I think so. You know what? I'm going to go up here. And this one, I'm going to do a little bit wider. Let me measure, see what it is. All right, that one is 1 3/4. I think that's a little wide. All right. And the other thing is, all of a sudden these just come together. It's like, oh, okay, that was the last step. Fine. Gail, who are you talking to? You talking to me or somebody else? Oh, I bet you're talking to Carol. I see Carol here. Hey, Carol. All right, just like before, this one just turned out a little wider. And what I'm going to do is sew it down across there. But I need to trim up. I need to trim these up so they're not showing after I do that. So I think this time I'll probably sew along the top and the bottom of it. Yep, I think I'll sew across the top and the bottom. I think that's what I did before. Let me see. Yep, that's what I did. So Carol, are you retired or is it the end of this month? Either way, congratulations. All right, let's make sure we cover up the bad parts. And this is going to be a very small inseam as well, whatever you want to call it. Sandwich the straps into, say, that. I'll bet you could have. Yeah, I could have probably done that. That's a good idea. I'm showing the steps, but they're a little crooked. My steps are a little crooked. If you guys do this, I would love to see what they turn out like in my Facebook. I love it when people show what they've been doing and they have their own spin on things. Alright, so we'll do this end. Then we're going to move on to the zipper sandwich. No, we're not. We gotta do the sides of these first. It's almost time to move on to the zipper sandwich. Okay, so now just like this. They're going to come out from the top, and we're going to angle them down like that. So you go straight down and then turn this. And I think that's a little long. That looks pretty good. So let me get these trimmed up. Okay, so we're flipping it over, and we just turn it, and it goes down here close to this corner where I cut my fabric. I'm going to do it a little bit up though, not quite all the way down. So I'm going to take my machine, I'm just going to tack that down. Then I'll do the same thing on that other side. And I'm doing all these with just really small little inseams so that when I sew the final product together, all these threads are hidden. That's why we're doing such a little bitty inseam. So I'm going to go over it, and I'm going to go ahead and go backwards, go back over it. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to flip this down, and then we turn it going that way. And we're going to have it close to this corner as well. Try to get it a little straighter though. That looks pretty good. Hello. We can hear the cussing and the hollering. Oh. That could be interesting. All right, to me these straps are a little bit long. I did them maybe a little shorter on this one, but they're fine. Okay, so I want to have this kind of trained to go down as well. So I'm just going to kind of smash those down a little bit. Now, let me look at my steps. I can't remember the zipper or the lining is next. I feel like the lining is next. So I added the straps. Okay, so we're going to sew the liner fabric to the main fabric. When I did this one, I cut my liner using this, and I cut my main fabric using this, and it was rough. And so I saw one person who actually did not cut their fabric, their liner fabric, until after they sewed around it. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay our lining on top, and we are going to use the back side so we can see. We're going to sew all the way around it. I don't really want you to see the back side because look at those threads. Look at those threads. Okay, so we just need to make sure that we have a piece large enough for it. And then also, because I'm using both very thin fabrics, and they recommended a canvas, I am going to put some interfacing on this one too. Okay. So we're just going to rough cut around it. Rough cut around it. Dance, are you still here? Are you coming on live tomorrow? I'm missing my dance. So let's get this ironed, and then we're going to iron on some interfacing or whatever whatever that stuff's called. Let me see if I can find the container that it came out of, which I don't have over here. And my instructions just flew. Hey everyone that has come in since I started. We're doing this little mini backpack. It looks like this. And I love it because it doesn't take much fabric. If you mess it up, you haven't spent a lot of money on the fabric. It does take a zipper. And you learn about zippers. You learn about kind of bias tape. You learn about gussets. I think it's a great, great project for somebody that has sewn some, but not a ton. Okay, what's a Bioni product? What's Bioni? I'm not familiar with that. The inquiring minds want to know. Is that, you said it'd still be smoking, is that a laser? Hey Charlene, welcome. Oh, I think a thin faux leather would be super cute. Hey Tanya. Yeah, I think that could be adorable. So, quilt winch, what is a Bioni product? Alright, let's just sloppy cut around this one also. Not using my good scissors. Okay, what did Kristen say? Because Mylene said, great minds think alike. Kristen said, I was just thinking the same thing. Okay, I don't know what you guys were thinking. Oh, the leather, the faux leather. Thank you. Thanks, Marilyn. I think that I would like to make a bigger backpack, not a full-size one, but one for like a, now my daughter never had any of the American Girl dolls, but you know, one that maybe would be the right size for that, or maybe would be the right size for a bigger teddy bear. I do feel like a larger one than this would be a little easier. Okay, what do I do with my parchment paper? We're just going to have to use a Teflon sheet, which is fine. Oh, there's some more parchment paper. Alright, let's get that up. Let's see if Quilt Winch said what it is. So maybe it's a bag, because I see somebody saying, what, Sean? So Sean is Go Savvy Designs, G-E-A-U-X, kind of like faux, but go like the French spelling, I guess. Okay, so here's what I did. I took my lining, and instead of cutting it out, I am going to lay my lining right here. And inside to inside, because of course we want that lining to show. And we are going to just sew all the way around this. And that way you don't have to worry, did my lining, you know, is my lining going to fit right after doing all this other sewing? Because earlier today, mine didn't, and I had to kind of trim some stuff down. Yes, she is really good at making bags and other stuff. Okay, so I think that since the most tedious part of this is up here around all this, I have to be careful. I think that I'm going to start right here. And the only reason we're sewing this together is to make the rest of the process easy. So again, I'm going to have a very small inseam, so to speak. No, not the right sides together. No, because we're not going to flip it. We're going to sew it a different way. Hopefully I'm right. Hopefully I'm right. Unbiased. Hopefully I'm right. I'm pretty sure I'm right. Okay, so I'm not good at sewing around curves. So you thought I sewed slow before? Just wait till you see this. Wait till you see how slow I sew around this thing. Alright, let's get this stuff out of the way. I'll try to speed up a little bit. And then I want to make sure it stays smooth. Come on, Marilyn. Keep going. All right, I'm getting ready to be on the easier straightaway. So I don't know. Whoops, I almost got off. I might have gotten off of it a little bit. If I did, I'll go back and fix it. So I don't know. Is this a little too in-depth for a Zoom type project? I can't remember what our next Zoom type project was supposed to be. We did bling, we did sew and bowl cozies, then we did bling, and I think we're back to some type of sewing. Back to a sewing project next time. Oh, that's okay, I'm biased. I didn't really explain it other than that I'm just doing it this way so that I don't have to cut out the lining fabric. Oh, I'm sorry. Using the pattern, because all the sewing we've done already can make it be off a little bit. So I don't know if Evelyn's still there. I think it was Evelyn that was saying, when I was talking about a new series we were watching, somebody said it sounds like The Blacklist, and it was definitely The Blacklist. And it is good. Now it's getting into deeper parts than when it started. Some things are coming to light, and it's very interesting. And I feel like I'm getting further away from the side of the fabric than I would like to. I'm trying to watch the chat. Trying to watch the chat and sew, and that's probably not a great thing to do. Hey, that looks a little better than my typical round. I'm trying to think of who. I think it was Kelly that I sent a mug rug to, and I top stitched around the outside of it. And on my mug rugs, I like to have the corners be a little bit rounded, have a little radius to them. I was like, now I'm not very good at doing the round parts. But she didn't care. Okay, almost back to the start. I am really, 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 really close to the side. I wish I wasn't quite that close. This is just going to hold everything together for us for the last steps. But we still have a zipper to do, so you're not getting rid of me yet. It'll be a little bit longer yet. Okay, so now that that's done, we just trim around it. And that way you have your liner or your lining fabric just built in automatically nicely around this outside fabric. Okay. I missed that, Mylene. Hey, Rougie. Rougie, we're making a little bitty backpack, and this is super duper crooked. I'll hold up the one I made this afternoon. It was the first one I've ever done. And I did it just a little bit. Whoops. Y'all, I just cut the fabric. Gosh darn it. I was busy yapping. Anyway, this one I'm doing slightly different than the one I did this afternoon. Okay, so now we have our lining fabric exactly where it needs to be. So much easier than cutting it out with the pattern. Oh, the other thing is this pattern says to use the pattern for the interfacing and then have your fabric be a 1/4 inch wider all the way around. And I only made these parts wider. So, yeah. All right, so it's time to put the zipper on. And what we need to do now is, let me grab my instructions. I glue on the floor over here. I believe I need, let's see, zipper sandwich. Zipper fabric, 1 inch by 6.5 inches. I need 2 liners and 2 of the main fabric. What did I say? 1 by 6.5? Oh my goodness. Okay. 1 by 6.5. Ooh, a rose gold one. And it's big enough. Good. So is this 12 inches? Nope. Cannot do that. All right. So this time I'm going to mark my fabric 1 inch. I'm going to mark 1 inch down here. This is probably not the way that quilters do it. It's easy for me to do it that way. So I marked 1 inch in up here and here, and then I'm just going to tie those two together and cut along. So here's my 1 inch mark up here, and then my 1 inch mark down here is right there. Patches and Petals finished your first bag today. Awesome. Now they did say too much work. Too much work. But you did one. Yay. Okay. So that's a lot longer than the 6.5 inches I needed. But I don't care. All right, so mark an inch in again. And we'll mark an inch in down toward this end. What kind of bag did you make? Like a purse bag? And if so, what kind of fabric did you use? Fabric, faux leather, leather. I didn't really have to mark that. I could have just held the ruler here and cut. I don't know why I marked it, but all right. Now we need 2 pieces in the real fabric. And thank goodness that's about all the cutting. I think that is the last of the cutting I have to do. Now, earlier I started to tell you this, and now I decided to wait until it came to this time. Some people did actually put interfacing in this part also, but I didn't. And I was happy with how it turned out, so I'm not going to. But you could put interfacing in it if you want to. Yeah, I think I'll just try to cut this one at the full 13 inches because I need 6.5 times 2, so I'm going to cut pretty long. Sorry about that, guys. It just dropped on your head. So I'm just going to come down here and make a mark. And I'll get my if I can find my 18-inch ruler, I'll get my 18-inch ruler. Yep, it's right over here by me. And we're going to cut this at about 14 inches because I need 2 at 6.5, so that'd be 13 inches. But I don't want to have to worry about being exact yet. Okay. I'm probably going to go a little bit long. That's okay. Let's make sure I have enough before I cut this. Oh, yeah. I have plenty. Let's see. My mom had a kit she didn't want to sew, so I did it for her. It was a large lined bigger bag, used cotton that was in the kit. I did replace the fusible fleece with that stable foam stuff. I love sewing with faux leather. Have only made little tags though. Well, congratulations. Okay, I think what I'll do is I'm just going to fold this in 2. Slice it here, measure down 6.5 inches, right? 6.5 inches, and slice it across there. If it's too long, it doesn't matter. You're going to end up trimming off part of your zipper anyway. So that's not a big deal. I still need to get these down to 6.5 inches. And then I think I'm going to iron this stuff real quick. Hopefully I did that 6.5 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a half. A little bit longer than that. Oops. Okay. Put the blade up. And then I'm going to press these just to get them kind of smoothed out. And then we're going to do the zipper. And so if you've never done the zipper, hopefully I'll show this correct. It went real smoothly for me this afternoon. There's always a chance. You need a teeny tiny book bag, Marilyn. Marilyn, do you sew? Okay. So I'm using the black zipper that is laying around here somewhere. And it is too long. I don't have exactly the right length of zipper that I need, but it will work just fine. I have it with the right side up, and on the right side up, and I'm going to do it down here. I'll open the zipper later. I'm going to have the right side of the fabric, meaning, well, not just the right side of the fabric, but my outside fabric with the right side of my outside fabric down up here flush with the zipper. And we're going to make a little sandwich. So some people will actually sew this piece first and then they'll go back and add the other piece. We're going to make a sandwich and sew it all at the same time. Now eventually this will fold over this way and it reveals the zipper. Now on the bottom of this zipper sandwich, we're going to have the lining. Let's make sure it looks right in my other bag. Make sure I did it right. Yep. And the lining is going to be right side up. So the two pieces of your fabric, the right sides are together with the zipper in the middle, and your outside fabric is on the top where your good part of the fold is. Okay? So we're just going to line these up. Go ahead and clip them together. Okay, so Kristen, thank you for letting me know that. So these pieces, see this, oops, see the zipper here? The pieces we're sewing right now is this piece and this piece, as well as this inside piece and this inside piece. So I'm glad you said that. Oh, you don't sew, okay. Okay, think you got it now? Yeah, when I first did this, I just kind of had to follow their video and go on blind faith. And some things didn't feel right, just like earlier when advice was like, do the pre-sides need to be together? That's typically what you do. But on this, the way we sew it, it doesn't go that way. All right, so now, if you have a zipper foot, it's a great idea to put that zipper foot on now. If you do, you're not going to have that much gap here. So if I put my zipper foot on, I'd have less of the zipper showing. But I'm going to keep going like this. But putting a zipper foot on could be a great idea right now. Where is my zipper foot? Where's my zipper foot? You guys are pressuring me. Just kidding. I'm pressuring myself. Okay, let's see. There's a zipper foot. I like the plastic one that came with it though. It's easier to get off and on. I had to buy an aftermarket one Because this is such an old sewing machine. Yeah, it is harder to get off and on. But we're going to do it. So, here's my machine. I'm just going to push that down, and it pulls it off. If you're new to sewing, there's a little divot that goes up in. I'm bound and determined to lift this so you can see it. A little divot that goes up in there. And that's what you put that bar down between these two things up into. So with the zipper foot, I'm going to lower my pressure foot down onto it. And on some machines, that clicks it into place. I have to give it some pressure, especially with this aftermarket one. Okay, so now if I did that correctly, or if I sew from the correct side, let's see, which would be this side. Let me think. I gotta go this way. This is not natural to me. I'm not a natural sewer, but hopefully you can see I can get the side of the foot a whole lot closer to that zipper so that I don't have such a huge amount of fabric showing, or a huge amount of the zipper tape showing. So, does that make sense? Hey, Nicole. All right, so let's go ahead and get this going. And I want to watch and make sure that the fabric doesn't start scooching this way. So I'm going to hand crank this a few times so that I know, there we go, so that I know it's caught in the right place. Whoops. Yeah, Kristen, it's just not natural to me. Maybe if I'd been sewing all these years, but I haven't. So I'm going to try to have this foot up against the teeth. Oopsie. My foot got stuck on a thread. I can tell I'm going to have to adjust my fabric as I go. Uh-oh. Nicole, welcome to Out of the Bushes. So glad to see you here. All right, so let's see how this is going to look. As I drop things on the ground. Okay, so we are going to pull the fabric. Oh yeah, that is closer. That's nice. And then we pull this fabric. So we're pulling all that down, and then we're going to iron. Okay, we're going to give that just a minute to get a little hotter. Oops, I think I just threw away what I need. Okay, so we're going to pull these fabrics away from the zipper. Get them nice and stretched out. And then we're going to iron this down. Now typically, I would do a top stitch along here. I didn't earlier today. And I think I will. I think it's going to look nicer with a top stitch. That's the reference to. Oh, that's okay, Quilt Lynch. Okay, so what that means is that's what some people call viewers that aren't in the chat, but they're just hanging out in the bushes. And I don't know, was 755, is that who coined that phrase? Because one time she was like, let me get my cutter spray out. I had no idea what cutter spray was. And she was talking to all the bush people. And I don't know if that's a common thing or if it's just our crazy little community that calls it that. All right, let's go ahead and top stitch this. This is a hidden zipper, which I haven't never worked with before, so it kind of has me a little freaked out. Hold on. Okay. Works the same as the others. Now, can I top stitch? I better go this way. So to top stitch this, I'm just going to, and notice that was longer. To top stitch it, I'm going to have the edge of my presser foot on the edge of that fabric. That's how I'm going to gauge where I'm going to top stitch. All right, let's see what anybody said. You're welcome. Yes, Eve, thank you, lurking. When you're watching and here, but not active in the chat. Which would have been me back when I used to watch The Baby's Booty years ago. I'm just watching it probably most of the time in the replays. Alright, so I do feel like the top stitch adds, well, especially when it's straight. Mine got a little curvy there. I think a top stitch adds a nice touch. I think it makes it look a little bit more professional. Okay, now we're going to do the exact same thing with our little sandwich. Just have to make sure I did it correct. Okay. So now we're going to put this piece, well, let's just flip it around so it's kind of the same. We're putting it flush with the top of the zipper. And then we're putting our lining piece under it. So pretty side of the lining is going to go pretty side of the outside fabric. And use several clips to hold it in place. So for those of us that have been around this community for a while, do other people talk about people in the bushes on YouTube lives? I don't know. I do not know. Okay, so now, like Kristen talked about, I have to kind of think about this. I want the skinny side of my zipper foot up against the zipper. So in this case, I want it right there. I can kind of feel the teeth and how far over they go. So about right there. Now I got to take that one off because it's trying to force my machine. Now I've only heard it in our 755 community. Okay, that's kind of what I assumed. Now I don't like the fact that my fabrics aren't quite even anymore, but In the long run, it's going to be fun. And then after we get this zipper on, then we're going to flip it to the inside and we're going to do the gusset part. And then we're done because we're not covering over those inside pieces. That is team too much for live. Oh my gosh, Lena Dole, you're going to use a serger to do a purse. Very cool. Yeah, unbiased. I saw you with that serger on your nosy video. All right, let's trim these threads. Do our top stitch. I don't think I need you anymore. Okay, so we need to make sure that we're pulling our threads, or I'm sorry, our fabrics together in a way. And we're going to press this, and we're going to do the top stitch, and then we'll add it to our product, or our project. Bobby, you're in the bushes a lot on YouTube. I like to just listen while I'm working. It is hard while you're working to be in the chat a ton, and especially like the afternoons since I'm retired, and I try to spend a lot of time with Tim in the evenings anymore than I'm doing my work in the afternoon, and so it's hard to be in the chats in the afternoon. And Shay Shay, are you going to be on every Thursday during the afternoon? Or will you have a comp Thursday, every Thursday? And if so, what time are you going to come on every Thursday? Because I came in here really, really late today. Okay. So let's go ahead. Now, I really don't even want to use those scissors for this. I want my old Brody scissors. Here are my old Brody scissors. So I'm going to trim this part down. And you can see mine don't line up, but we're not going to need this much zipper. Then I want to bring the zipper pull in. And then I think before I trim it, I'm going to go ahead and sew over the zipper so that this kind of stays together. So let's go ahead and do that. You don't have to do this, but I think it's helpful. All right. I need to find out a better camera system for when I'm doing sewing. All right, let's go across there. I feel like I'm too close. Let's move over just a little bit. And these are obviously nylon zippers. I wouldn't do this with metal zippers. All right, let's go ahead and cut off some of that excess. Oh, I didn't even get them together. Darn it. Let me see how much excess I have. So this part should be about a 1/2 inch overall shorter than the middle. Let's see how long I have this. Well, I'm going to do this again. Okay, I think I got it that time better. Yep. Looks fine. Okay, so I want this about a 1/2 inch shorter than this. And you can see right now it's not. So I'm going to trim on this end so that I don't have to worry about the zipper coming apart again. So let's see. Actually, I'm going to move that down a little bit so I can trim a little more off later. And I'm going to trim this to where the two fabrics are together. And then that should be, yep, that's just about perfect. Okay, let me think about this for a minute. I think I need to go like that. Let me think about this. Let me think about this. I flip this back outside like that. Oh, okay. One more thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sew these together. That's what I did earlier, and it just makes working with them later easier. And let's see. I'm going to do it from the back so I make sure I catch everything. And I can just keep sewing with this zipper foot. Not a big deal. I'm really nervous about if I'm sewing the zipper thing on right. I might peek at that part of the video real quick. Thanks, Patches. Patches and Petals. Now this part doesn't have to look pretty. It just is holding it together so that when you go around the inside, like the gusset area, that it's easier to work with. That's about the fastest I've sewn all night. Okay, let me look at something here real quick like, because I am nervous. Let's see. Okay, that's what she did. Okay, here I am to the part. Let me play this real quick. Oh, I don't want a commercial. Oh, I'm not going to be able to hear it because I have the microphone plugged in. Or the headphones to keep it quiet. But I'm going to, yes, okay, pretty side down. Oh, thank you, Patches and Petals. I feel like I'm not doing a great job getting the camera where it needs to be. So hopefully it's watchable. Okay, so now we're going to put pretty side down to pretty side on this one. And we're going to sew, let me open this up some. We're going to sew along this nasty looking edge over here with it fairly centered. And this too is going to get covered over. So everything I think we've done so far is really just kind of getting our project ready for the very last step. And it looks nasty. That's what I said earlier. Is the project looks really bad until the very end, and then all of a sudden it comes together and it's so cute. Okay, so now I feel like this should be a little shorter, just from doing my first one. I'll cut off a little bit more of this zipper. And so this zipper piece is going to be shorter than this back piece. So we're going to pull it over, and then we're going to sew that side down. Still having fairly small inseams. No fun sewing terms like frogging when you're crocheting. All right, now I am going to flip this like this. Let's flip it right side out and do a top stitch. Let me get some of this excess thread gone. We all know from watching Marilyn that she is thread insecure. Okay, so now I am going to fold this side down and top stitch on the opposite side of my zipper. And because my inseam is so small, this top stitch is going to be super duper close to the main stitch, and it starts getting a little tricky with the small working area. Which is why earlier I was saying I think it'd be easier to do a larger backpack. I don't want to do a full size one. I want to do I want to do a mini one for like a regular sized teddy bear. Why are you not moving? There we go. Thank you guys for sticking it out with me. I know I'm not a professional seamstress, but hopefully you see it from a beginner's perspective if you haven't done this type of project before. Hopefully it's helpful, and if you are a professional, it's probably pretty funny, honestly, because I'm not real good at it. Okay, so we're going to top stitch this side. I don't like that I see the loop of that thread. That annoys me. Okay, I pulled it through a little bit. That's better. Because I'm sure experienced sewers are like, girl, what are you doing on YouTube trying to show people how to sew when that's how you sew? Okay. So I know I asked at some point, a couple weeks ago, like if you had to rate yourself on a 1 to 10, and 10 being really, 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 really good at sewing, where would you rate yourself? Like really experienced? Really good, really experienced would be a 10. I would probably rate myself at a, I don't know, 4 to 5. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this quite a bit because I'll be able to open it. But here's what we're looking like. We have the side top seam there, the top seam there. Now it's time to flip it back, wrong side out, and now is when it comes together. Now is when it comes together. Okay, so I feel like I should find the center point, kind of. And I feel like I probably should have done a better job of finding the center point, but that will work. I'm going to go pretty side to pretty side. I'm going to put a clip in the center for now. I might have to adjust it, but there it is for now. I rated 10. Max Lifestyle says -5. Oh, Rachel, you are not a 3.5. You're way, way up there. But thank you, Mylene. Okay, so some people actually put little slits in their fabric so that it will give some. But here's what we're doing is okay, that didn't come out quite right. This edge right here should come together. So let's start there and let's see what we get. Let's see what we get. I'm a little nervous now. I don't know which side I want to do this from. And we're going to put a whole lot of clips in this. We're just going to follow it around. And if it doesn't come together, like this isn't going to come together quite right, I'm going to redo it and just kind of shift it a little bit so that your off center is shared by both sides. So if I keep going, see how that didn't quite come together? It's close. It should be like that. So I'm going to split the difference and go right there. And go back around. Okay. Actually, that's not too bad. That's not going to be too bad at all. And so I think of this part as being like a gusset. Is this what a gusset would be like? I heard him use that term. I heard somebody use that term. And I've seen Sean when she did a gusset. Okay, so hopefully that's about the same amount of off that I was on the other side. I think it is. Okay, so I need to have a larger inseam this time than I've had on any of the other parts. And this is going to be on the inside. I don't like that those don't match up quite right. So I would probably, instead of going 1 inch by 6.5 inches, I'd probably do 1 1/4 inches by 6.5. But let's go ahead and sew this down. I want to put my regular foot back on. Assuming I can find it. Yep, there it is. I'm just happy I did not break a needle. Okay. I really feel like I should sew from this side so I can see that I'm catching everything. So we're going to start over here. And hopefully, I want you guys to have a really good view. This is the section with the zip. Oh, wait, thanks, Chris. Look at who we brought out of the bushes so she could help me. Okay. So on a bag this small, this is where it gets a little tedious. And that probably would work fine if I have the edge of my foot at the edge of the fabric. I think that will catch everything. We are getting ready to see. How many people we still have here? We lost a few, we gained a few, we're down some. I know this is a long, kind of boring video. But thank you guys for being here. Okay. Yes, it is making with Marilyn. Yes, it is what? Long and boring? Just teasing you, Shay Shay. Okay, Shay Shay, since you're back, I was asking, are you going to be live every Thursday afternoon? And if so, what time? So I can put that on my rotation. Because I'm usually working through the afternoon, but I want to be there as much as I can. Okay, so this gets a little, this is just going to be a slower process. Now, why is that thread loose? Why did my thread do something weird? Okay, you look fine in there. My straps are at the other end, so I don't think I'm running over a strap. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and lift this, kind of adjust. And I'll be lifting and adjusting several times during this process. Going around this corner on this small little areas takes a little time and patience. Oh, today and next Thursday at 10. Okay. Alrighty. Now, did I just pull that away from the other side? Alright. Let's keep going. I feel like it's a little janky here. And I do know that if I would unzip this, I found out earlier having it unzipped is a little easier. Okay, so my needle's down, so let's try to, oh my goodness. Come on, unzip, unzip, unzip. There you go. Okay, to those experienced seamstresses, I'm sorry. I'm doing the best I can do. Whoops! As I throw my pins, my clips. Okay, let's adjust that again. It's gonna look okay when I'm done. When you adjust, you want your needle to be down in, so that you can lift up that presser foot, take some of that pressure off. And see, I've gotten off there. I've gotten off, but let's finish it up and see how it looks. I have a seam ripper. I can always rip it back out after the live and get it fixed up. Okay, we're on the straightaway now. Okay. So let me peek at that. Oh, it's going to be fine in there. It is going to be fine in there. Looky in there. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Now we have to do this side and then we're done. Because like I said, I'm not going to cover over those inside raw edges on this one tonight. I will smooth it up just a little bit. But what you can do is you can take bias tape and you can, or you can take some trim and you can take it all the way down to the bottom here and you can have it go around that so when you open it, you don't see this. Another person, ooh, I see where I missed some. I missed some fabric here. I saw a hole in there, I thought. I thought I saw a hole. Maybe the hole was in my zipper. Okay. Anywho, let's push that down, and then we're going to do this side. So, I'm going to start over on getting all this lined up. Let's see. So I'm going to start it as if it works out perfectly, and we'll see. We'll see if it lines up perfectly on this side. It wasn't terrible on the other side, but it wasn't perfect. So you are just pinching these basically together. So this is a project that I would never do to sell because you could never get enough money out of these things for your time. But it's a fun project for yourself, for your kids, your grandkids, to put gift cards in, back to school, throw them on their backpacks with some chapstick or lip balm. Okay, so it didn't come out right. So we're going to shift it a little bit again. Let's see, I need to shift it this way. Well, just cute little projects for that. But I don't know how you'd make your money on these to sell them because I don't think you're going to get much money out of a teeny tiny little backpack. Yes, leave the zipper open a little bit. I mean, you can leave it all the way open at this point. I'm going to try to work around that zipper. So I'll probably sew some and then shift it. I'm sorry. I don't think my hands were very much in the view of the camera. I don't like all these frays. Take a drink. Yeah, I need my ice water. I have ice water. I don't think I've taken a drink of it. Yeah, unbiased, I would never even make minimum wage. So for me, it's just for fun, for little gifts, things like that. Guys, I am not happy with this. Not happy. I am so sorry. But we're going around one more time, shifting it just, well. Yep. It's going to be really asymmetrical if I don't adjust on this side too. This is the last time though. I'm sewing it regardless. Nightcap. my blood pressure does not like nightcaps, so. Okay, this is gonna get it closer to being correct. It's gonna be close enough. Oh my goodness. Y'all. I wish I could hear you scream at me like, move your hands over. Honestly, I don't know that I made a difference once you get way over here. Okay, we're going. We are going for it. I'm going to sew from this side so I can see where I need to be. I'm sure I'll get better at these after doing more than this. This is only my second one. Okay, what am I running into down there? Now, where's my straps? I want to make sure I don't run over those, so I'll keep that in mind. All right, let's see how this works out. It is not going to be perfect. I can really see that. Okay, there we go. I thought it was getting off, but I think I just corrected it. All right, you loose piece of thread, you gotta go away. Okay, are you gonna be smooth? I don't know how smooth that's gonna look. Perfection is overrated. Thank you. Stacy, are you still here? If so, Gail's asking for you. And I figure if you're here, you're probably working because you've got that nice new embroidery machine, so you're probably not looking for chat, but you might hear me. I missed what Kristen said. This is very small, Shay. I'm going to do a bigger one. Not full size, but bigger. Ah! Go back. I'm just so curious. I want to see what you're saying. Whew. Yeah, it would have to be bigger so our name would fit. All right, we gotta make sure these straps are all the way on this side. We are almost done, guys. Thanks for hanging. Okay, I would love to move the zipper. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. I feel like this one is harder than the first one I did today. Okay, that's getting it pretty smooth. have to try to move this zipper. It is being a pain in my side. Okay, there we go. Oh my goodness. Okay, I feel like I'm on the home stretch. I am on the home stretch. Oops, sorry, I keep hitting that camera with my head. Oh my goodness, this is so not good. It's not good, but it's done. It is done. Now, I did box out the corners from the inside on the one I did earlier today. Basically, I flipped it back right side out and boxed along there, and that helped it tremendously. And covering that inside with bias tape or with trim would help the inside look a whole lot better too. Okay, so let's see what we have. Let me trim a little bit of this up. Ooh, that is that is not straight. I don't want you to see those seams. Okay, so let's unzip it, turn it right side out. And poke out the corners. You need to be quiet. Poke out the corners. And what I did earlier today was I kind of took and I ironed on the seams. I pressed on the seams. Now I can see some of my, oh, that's the top stitch on my pocket. I didn't sew deep enough right there. I should have sewed that a little further in. Okay, there is the project though. I need to do some work on it. Oh, that doesn't look so good. This one looks better. Let me do a little ironing. Jess, you have that pattern? The flower pattern? Using batting instead of interfacing and binding the seams will give it structure. Oh, yeah, the binding would give it structure. That is true. Okay, so I missed it right there. Missed it. Where my ends didn't come together very well. Okay. At this point, it is what it is. So let's just make the best of it. Do a little bit of pressing. And like Chris said, that the that would give it more structure. But also, if you just do things like ironing, I mean, look, that helps tremendously. I could go in and box that corner like I did on the other one today. I'm just going to keep ironing. Let's see how it turned out. It will look better after I iron it. Or press it, I'm sorry. Probably using the wrong term there. Okay, Shay Shay, what'd you do that you're going to have to cover with pink fabric? Okay, now we're going to call that good. I do want to go in and box those corners, but 3 hours is plenty. So, kind of straightened out, smoothed out. I'm not thrilled with how this turned out, guys. I'm going to be honest. You can probably tell in my voice. It's not smooth there. I could do some ironing on that too, and it would help. I could probably go in there and relieve some of that fabric with those little cuts. I was trying to set my iron up like you do a home iron. All right, here it is in all its glory. It's a backpack. It's not terrible, but it's not great. It is not great at all. There it is. All right, so I don't know if anybody would want to give this a try, but I will write down the steps, and I linked to the pattern. I'll tell what I did differently about the pattern so that you can see that, but that is so not very well done. But here they are. My cute little backpacks. Look, they're shaped a little bit differently. It's okay. It's just, that's not done very well, but I like it still. It looks great to you. Thanks, Marilyn. Just mail it to you. You're going to give it a try. Good. You like the Misfits, Jess? It is definitely a Misfit. Thanks, Eve. Thanks, Nicole. Thanks, Connie. Thank you, everyone. The double zipper, or are they called the two-way zippers? I saw one where it goes both ways. I did see one person do that, and I don't know if, you just had two zipper pulls. So on the other one, when I boxed it on the inside, it would be more like that, and that would help. But that's not going to help how bad that looks. But if you try this project, post what you did. I'd love to see it. Let me go ahead and get rid of this camera. And whew, I'm sweaty. I'm a sweaty mess. I don't know. I want to make myself big, but I will. What the heck? Anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. I hope that you enjoyed the fellowship, the camaraderie. You're going to try it for your granddaughter. Awesome, Sandra. I'd love to see it. I would love to see it. Quilt Lynch, thank you very much. Thanks for coming back. I appreciate that. You think it's adorable, Danny? Yeah. The straps can be the blings. Oh, yeah, Mylene. I even thought about putting bling across this top little trim piece right there. I thought that'd be cute. All right. Well, I will see you guys. If the trace is on tomorrow, I'll see you there. Sunday, I'll see you at Eve's house. And until then, now next Thursday, we're going to do, let me give you a preview. Let me give you a preview if I can find it. because a lot of people have 4x4 embroidery machines. Now this is nothing special yet. And I missed the fabric when I was stitching this out. But I'm doing a little jack-o'-lantern. But I'm going to add some little lines that go down like in the, where the pumpkin goes like that. I'm going to add some lines. I need to go to Silhouette Studio, add some lines, and then I need to add some stippling. But this will be a 4x4 friendly project. So this is probably what we'll do next Thursday. This is only going to take 10 minutes or 20 minutes, so I'll probably make 2 or 3 or 4 on my Poulin, I think, not the multi-needle. So if you're interested in that, that'll be next Thursday. And then I'll be giving that out to the members in case you're interested. It is tiny, Shay, but there's a lot of people that have, 4x4 is the largest that they have. And I did see, like, I don't know that you guys can see it, but Dims told me that on hers, so that she does with the 4x4, that a coffee mug fits on it, and like this fits just barely on it, but it fits. And so I will maximize it as much as I can using a 4x4 hoop. And so in the end, this one right now is 3 1/4 inches, so it may be a little bit larger than that when it's all said and done. But I hope to see you here next Thursday. Mylene, is this file listed? Are you talking about the file for this? The pattern to this, which I did differently than they did it, but the main pattern is in the video description under this live. If you're talking about the pattern for this one, I haven't completed the pattern yet. I'm still working on it because I want to add the little lines, go back into Silhouette, and with the SVG drawing tool, add the lines, and then I need to bring it back into Embrilliance and do what I've done so far, plus add stippling. So I'm not quite done with it yet. Okay. You had my nightcap for me. Well, thank you, Evelyn. You're so sweet. So good to me. So you have one for you and one for me? Hey, Uni. The backpack. Okay, so the backpack I have the pattern that's not my pattern underneath the video, but you'd have to watch this whole long video to see how I changed it up. But I am going to write out the instructions and all that, and then next Thursday, I'll just share them in the chat or below the video. So it will be. I think I'm going to take it into Silhouette Studio and make the little bit of changes that I did. So anyway, it'll be here next Thursday. All right, I will see you guys later. Appreciate you being here. And until next time.